Shamsul Ma'arif, the Book of the Sun Knowledge, is not just a book, it's a legend, whispered in harsh tones across the Aru world. They say it contains secrets that no human should ever know, and a curse that spares no one who dares to open its pages. A group of college students in Cairo sat around a small cafe table. Among them is Kareem, a curious and skeptical young man with an interest in occult. For Kareem, Shams al-Ma'arif was nothing more than a story to scare children. When his friend Layla mentioned she had access to a copy, Kareem couldn't resist. It's just an old book, he laughed. What's the worst that could happen? Layla hesitates, her eyes darting around as if someone might overhear. Finally, she slides a folded note across the table with an address scribbled on it. The book wasn't easy to find. Hidden in the back of a forgotten antiques shop, it seemed to call to Kareem the moment he saw it. The cover felt warm to the touch, almost like it was alive. That night Kareem couldn't resist the temptation. He lit a single candle and carefully opened the book. The pages were filled with strange diagrams and dense Arabic scripts that seemed to shift and writhe under his gaze. The words glow faintly as Kareem begins to read out loud. The candle flickers violently, casting unnaturally. As he read, the air grew colder. Whispers filled the room, soft at first, but growing louder, overlapping until they became an unbearable presence. Kareem clutches his head, the whispers now a deafening roar. Kareem slammed the book shut, his heart pounding, but it was too late. Over the next few days, strange things began to happen. Lights flickered when Kareem entered the room. His reflection in mirrors would lag behind, moving a split second slower than him. At first, Kareem thought it was stress, but then he started seeing it. Late at night, Kareem sits at his desk, studying. Behind him, a shadow moves. He glances over his shoulder, but nothing is there. It was always just out of sight, Kareem later said, but I could feel it, watching me. Big Kareem begins to deteriorate. Dark circles from under his eyes. His hands tremble and he jumps at every sound. His friends notice his change but dismiss his fears as paranoia. But Layla knew better. You shouldn't have read it, she told him. Shams al-Ma'arif isn't just a book, it's a doorway. Kareem begs Layla for help. She reluctantly takes him to an elderly scholar, a man who has spent his life studying cursed artifacts. The scholar's face pales when he sees the book. This should never have been found, he whispers. The curse cannot be undone. The scholar burns incense and chants in a desperate attempt to banish the curse. The room fills with thick smoke, and for a moment, Kareem feels hope. But then the lights go. Total darkness. The sound of heavy breathing fills the air. When the lights flicker back on, the scholar is gone. His chair overturned. Only the book remained. Its pages open to a blank black expanse. That was the last anyone saw of Kareem. His palm was found empty, the walls scrawled with the symbols from the book. Layla left the city, unable to bear the guilt. But Shams al-Ma'arif is still out there, waiting for the next curious soul to unlock its secrets. But be warned, some knowledge is better left is Mia loved hiking. The solitude of the forest was her escape from the chaos of the city life. One autumn afternoon, she ventured into the Black Hollow Forest, a trail infamous for its beauty but its chilling reputation. Mia was walking alone, her boots crunching on fallen leaves, the sunlight just fading away as the shadows were growing longer. Halfway through her hike, she noticed something unusual. The forest had gone silent. No birds, no wind. The melancholic tunes were gone. Just an oppressive, unnatural stillness. And then she saw it. A pale figure in a tattered dress, standing motionless on the trail, her face obscured by damaged, tangled, long black hair. She didn't seem real, Mia later described, like she was caught between this world and something else. Mia was cautiously approaching, calling out the figure. The figure turns, revealing hollow, empty eyes. A sudden scream pierces the silence, and the figure vanishes. Panicked, Mia tried to retrace her steps, but the trail seemed to shift and change. Trees twisted in unfamiliar ways, and the fog thickened. Hours had passed. When rescuers found her days later, she was huddled beneath a tree, muttering. Her hair had turned white, and she refused to speak of what she saw. To this day, Mia can't walk into a forest without trembling. Black Hollow Forest keeps its secrets and its victims.
There are places where the past refuses to stay buried, where memories linger like shadows and whispers echo long after the living have gone. The St. Helena convent was one such place, a crumbling relic steeped in tragedy and secrets dark to tell. A group of urban explorers, three teenagers, stand at the edge of the convent grounds. It's dusk and the fading light casts long shadows across the overgrown courtyard. For Emily, Liam, and Sophia, the three teenagers, the convent was a dare, a test of courage whispered about in school hallways. The legend of the nun had been around for decades, passed down like sinister campfire tale. The group crossed the threshold, stepping through a creaking wooden door as dust particles float in the dim light from their flashlight, the air heavy, almost suffocating. The story went that a young nun named Sister Beatrice had taken her own life over a century ago, driven mad by guilt and grief, but even in death, she found no peace. They say her spirit still roams in the halls, bound to the convent by her torment. Those who enter are warned. Do not look at her in the eyes and never answer if she speaks to you. This is it, Emily whispered. Liam laughed nervously, his voice echoing in the vast empty space. Oh, it's just a stupid story, he said, kicking a piece of debris. But Sophia shivers, glancing over her shoulder cautiously. As they explored deeper, the air grew colder. The sound of their footsteps seemed muffled, as if the building itself was swallowing the noise, and then they heard it. A faint humming, like an old hum, carried on the wind. The group froze. Emily's flashlight flickers. plunging them into darkness for a brief moment. When the light steadies, they see a figure at the far end of the hall. None, her face obscured by the shadows of her habit. She stood perfectly still, her head tilted slightly as if it was watching them. The group stared in silence, their breaths hitching in their throats. Do you see her? Sophia whispered. The nun takes a step forward, her movement unnaturally slow and deliberate. The humming grew louder, filling the air with a mournful melody that chills them to their bones. Panic set in. Leon grabbed Emily's arm, urging her to run, but as they turned, the door they had entered through was gone, replaced by an endless hallway that hadn't been there before. And then she spoke. Why have you come here? The group stopped. Their flashlight flickered again. The nun is now only a few feet away, her face still obscured, her voice calm, almost kind but laced with an undeniable menace. They tried to run, but the wall seemed too loose. The corridors twisting and shifting. No matter where they turned, she was there, waiting and watching. Emily screamed at the top of her lungs. Her flashlight fell to the ground. It beamed, illuminating the nun's face for the first time. Her eyes hollow voids, black and endless, and as her lips curved into a grotesque smile. And then it happened. Emily was gone. One moment she was there, her screams echoing through the halls, and the next, only silence remained. Liam and Sophia huddled together, their backs against the wall. The humming is deafening now, and the shadows move around them like living things. By dawn, the convent was silent again. The group was never seen again. A week later, local authorities found only their belongings, flashlights, a backpack, and a journal filled with frantic scribbles. The convent stands empty still. It's a hall, a monument to Sister Beatrice's restless spirit, but those who pass by night claim to hear the faint echo of her hum, and some say if you're brave or foolish enough to enter,